What's going on, guys? It is a Monday night. I'm meteorologist Jonathan Kegges. Welcome back to News 6 Weather Live at 9:30. We have a jam-packed show as always because, man, feels amazing outside. Hope everybody enjoyed their Halloween. Super comfortable Halloween. One of the coolest since way back in 1992. And if you thought it was cool then, it's going to get even colder, I think, next week. There's another big cold front. Looks like it's poised to come down. We're going to take a look at that throughout the course of the show. We are coming at you live, as always, on News 6 Plus and on the News 6 YouTube page. Post in the comments where you're tuning in from. If you have any questions at any time during the show, of course, post those in the comments. If you're watching on the YouTube side of things, I can see them right here. Also, if you're watching on clickorlando.com, we can put that right on the screen as well and pull your comments over. We like to have the interactive conversation going forward. Okay, so in terms of what's going on with the weather, wild temperature swings coming on the pipeline. We're going to have a gradual warm up over the next couple of days, and that is going to lead us back to the mid to upper 80s as we get back into the Thursday, Friday, especially Saturday time frame. And then we're going to have a really, really big cold front slicing through Central Florida as we get into the weekend, the second half of the weekend, into early Monday morning. So that's going to be the change that could usher in even colder air than what we saw earlier into the day. On the tropical front, we're going to look a little long range. This is Monday as we break free from a hurricane season. We're going to really get into our long range segment that I like to do every Monday. And that's going to look a couple of weeks down the line, look at some cool teleconnections and things like that to forecast, okay, is it going to be warmer than normal, wetter, drier, cooler, all of the above. We are going to have fun on Mondays with the long range forecast going forward. It's one of my favorite things for sure to do. And then at the end, if we have time, your comments and questions, of course, I can tap into those throughout the course of the show at any time, but especially for the last few minutes, that's going to be the best opportunity. Alrighty, guys, hope everybody's doing well. Melissa, Jody, Elizabeth, Travel, what's going on, my friend? Golfing Ferdy, what's going on, buddy? Just talked to you on the other channel. Awesome stuff. Thank you guys always for being here. Again, post in the comments where you are tuning in from. Okay, it has been oh so comfortable. Look at this. Even at this hour, 47 degrees in Tallahassee. Pensacola's in the 50s. Orlando's in the low 60s. Another super nice, comfortable night coming our way. Jacksonville, we are in the low 50s. Still a little warm in Palm Beach, West Palm Beach, Fort Myers, Miami, Key West, mid to upper 70s. That's to be expected. We did get in on that front as expected with that last one that crossed through. And I do think we're going to get involved on the next one coming down the pipeline as well. By the way, we're taking a live look tonight, courtesy of our friends at WeatherStem in Ponce Inlet tonight and in Delray Beach. Look at that bright, beautiful moon illuminating the beach tonight. We have a super moon coming up, I believe, tomorrow, the 5th. Tomorrow's the 4th. I don't even know what day it is anymore. But these are your current temperatures. Now, the forecast going forward is back tomorrow, still below normal, but a little bit warmer than where we've been. So we'll still have the blue showing up, but nonetheless, it is a little bit cooler than where we should be for this time of the year. That puts us in the upper 70s in Orlando, right around 80 degrees, 72 in Pensacola, 75 in Tallahassee. We are at 82 in Naples, and then we are 80 degrees in Miami. We're back to the upper 70s in Vero Beach as well. So everybody tomorrow, with the exception of Tampa. Tampa is back into the lower 80s, and that's our only spot that we were talking about being average when everywhere else is below average across the state of Florida. So notice we have a lot of blue on the map. Once we get into Wednesday, the 5th, we start to warm things back up. So 83 in Orlando, 83 in Tampa, 78 in Jacksonville, 79 in Tallahassee, 76 degrees in Pensacola. Air temperatures in Southeast Florida, still a little bit below. 80 in Vero, 82 degrees in Miami. Then we're going to have potentially the coldest air of the season so far slide in. At least it has that potential. So what I'm showing you here is this is going to be the temperature anomaly map We're fast forwarding out through Thursday, and you see the warmth in the orange, yellow, and red um, coming through. And that would go to show that we have above normal temperatures expected really from Friday, Saturday into Sunday. And then we have the big change coming. And by the way, um, when we're talking about a warm up, and if you watch News 6 to 10, we're going to go over the 7-day forecast. There will be some humidity coming back with it. It's not the rich stuff. It maybe not be as window opening as it's been, but it's certainly not oppressive. So you're going to notice the humidity a little bit, but it's not going to be anything too crazy. Watch what happens, though, next week. Look at that big kind of ball of blue and purple just kind of situated over the eastern two-thirds of the United States. That anomaly, that indicates that we are about 15 to 20 degrees below normal. Average high temperatures in Central Florida are around 80 degrees. So shave off 15, that puts us in the mid 60s for highs on Tuesday. So that is a real possibility that we keep things in the 60s for highs on Tuesday. And maybe on Tuesday morning is our first round of potentially 30s for areas as far south as maybe Ocala. So that could be wild. That could be a gigantic blast of colder air. We're tracking that closely. There is the potential highs again on Tuesday. Lower 60s across North Florida, mid to upper 60s in Central Florida. That would be 70s still in Vero Beach, upper 70s in Miami. Naples, we are at 74 degrees. So certainly some big chill coming on the pipeline as we go forward over the next week to into the middle part of November. So certainly some wild stuff. If you enjoy the cooler weather, I think we're going to get a reinforcing shot. If you like the warmer weather by the middle and latter stages of this upcoming work week, that is going to be your time. Alrighty, guys, keep the comments, keep the questions coming. I will go through some of the comments over our short break, and I will do my best to get to them. We are going to talk long-range tropics coming up. Nothing brewing right now, and hopefully it stays that way. We're going to break things down in the long range in just 3 minutes. Alrighty, guys, welcome back to New 6 Weather Live at 9:30. Hope everybody is doing well on a Monday evening. It is about 9:39, and we are going to roll into the Tropics segments. Thankfully, this is going to be coming to an end very, very soon, and we won't have to talk about Tropics for just about 6 months. That would be fantastic. Okay, so no new development is expected over the next. Whoops, hit the wrong button. My bad, guys. Got to turn the music back off. We're going to get back over to the main screen. No new development is expected over the next 7 days here in the tropical Atlantic. So finally, we are looking good. And this is really the only little cluster of thunderstorms in the tropical Atlantic. Now, this is where the Climate Prediction Center highlighted potential development over the 5 to 7 day period, or over the next 5 to 7 days. Now, the 5th to the 11th. There is not a lot of ensemble support here for this entity that is developing over Central America. That's why there's no new development expected over the next 7 days from the Hurricane Center. We'll go and look at that. I'll show you that. I like to show you again. I always like to say I show my work, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. And the European ensembles here show a whole lot of nothing down in that area. Okay, so we are looking golden. The GFS ensembles, they want a little something something down there, but it's nothing crazy. And there's really no other guidance suggesting that we're going to get something to develop in that area. So certainly that is a very, very nice thing to see. This was the official forecast we talked about last week. I think I showed you this. I can't remember now because we were so busy with Hurricane Melissa. November 5th to the 11th, that area that I just showed you, that little bubbling up of the thunderstorms right there. And all of that. So that area, it's possible greater than 20% shot. Hurricane Center does not have it highlighted. So again, unlikely for development. Certainly if it tried to lift north, we just talked about that gigantic cold front that looks poised to come down to the North Gulf Coast, including Florida, as we get into the evening, or as we get into the upcoming weekend, Sunday into Monday. That would further help to suppress things, and that would further help to cool the Gulf, the North Gulf especially. I want to show you this. This has been one of the bigger developments here, I think, over the last several weeks since we started getting these cold fronts. This is the tropical fuel. We call it scientifically tropical cyclone heat potential. And where you see the red and the rust color, that is where we have that extreme fuel. Not only is it warm along the ocean surface, but it is deeply warm. And you can see what Melissa did. Now, still, which is the crazy part about it, even with Melissa going over this area and staying over it for days, it only took the heat potential. Down to medium to high, not low. So that just goes to show you how juiced the Caribbean is. So obviously it's plenty warm near the Cayman Islands, in between the Yucatan, in between Western Cuba, and then in between the Florida Straits in Florida, and then this they'll call the loop current because it makes like a little loop-to-loop out there. That's the Gulf Stream. That's the warm waters there. So that is still deeply warm. But what I wanted to show you, notice how the color table kind of drops out, where it goes from that blue color to like the ocean waves. That means it has dropped off the color table. So the heat potential along the North Gulf Coast is super low. Okay, so if something were to be lifting up out of there, then there's nothing expected. It would kind of run into that, and it would kind of run into that, and it would weaken. So with this next cold front, I would suspect that we're going to see this shaved off even further south. So that is going to be something that we're going to be watching closely. So Melissa asked earlier, no more hurricanes this year. I can't say that for certain, but it is getting more and more likely that we're not going to be dealing with another hurricane anywhere in the basin, let alone the United States. Again, it becomes very, very hard, not impossible, but very, very hard for these storms to lift to the north when there are these big-time cold fronts. And I mean, we're talking big-time cold fronts. Last week was a big one. mean, it delivered the coolest Halloween since 1992, and this upcoming one could be bigger still. You'd always have to look for the cold front itself, maybe spinning something up and then lifting back north. But nonetheless, I really think that hurricane season as a whole is on its last leg. Now, the areas that we'd watch in November, it's got it right in the area that was highlighted by the Climate Prediction Center. So um, there is the yellow shaded area, Central America, Yucatan. I mean, that's where the water is still the warmest in the entire basin. So that is 100% where you would look. Again, cold fronts coming down can be the trigger mechanism. We still have to a degree the Central American gyre out there. And then we have a cold front sliding back off the eastern third of the country, can also spark something up. Those ones would typically move away. And then you just have the random ones out here. This is typically where you have the kind of transitions from a non-tropical storm and maybe the water's still warm enough in the subtropics that something spins up in the North Atlantic, but that's in the middle of nowhere. That is in no man's land. So again, those are the areas that we would look at. Certainly shrinks significantly the development chances, as you might imagine, as we move forward into the middle of November. So those are some things that we are watching. In terms of where we stand right now, of course, we made it to the M storm. Nestor would be next, but there is no indication right now that we are going to get a Nestor. Just crazy still to me. And we're going to do a big recap on the homework or on the hurricane season at the end when it ends officially, in case we get another just random name storm out there. But it's been a wild one. It has been a weird one, to say the least. You see a bunch of tropical storms out there, and then surrounded by 3 Category 5 hurricanes, and a fourth becoming a major hurricane in and of itself. So it's been a really, really weird hurricane season. Alrighty, guys, I have to get my second break in. I will be right back in 3 minutes. Stick around. Alrighty, guys, thank you a ton for being here tonight on a Monday evening. If you were missed earlier, we were talking about the cold fronts coming through. Um, Likely Sunday into Monday, big cold front sliding through. Andy loves the cold fronts for sure. Next cold front coming down in time for Veterans Day. It looks like that for sure. Um, as we move into Monday into Tuesday of next work week. So just again, crazy that we're seeing these cold fronts this early. At least the significant ones. We typically again by the middle of September, middle of October, and then we watch them kind of trickle in and really blast in by the time we get into November. And then the bigger ones come December and January as we go through the middle of winter. But we could be talking about air temperatures next week in the mid to upper 60s, 15 to 20 degrees below where we should be for this time of the year if it continues to look like that is going to slide on through. Alrighty, guys, that about does it for us tonight. Thank you a ton for being here. Again, we will be back tomorrow. We're going to be talking about the latest on those cold fronts that are coming down. And we're going to keep on watching that to see if we see the anomalies kind of back off a little bit in the forecast side of things, or as we go forward, if they kind of intensify a little bit. Long range guidance was spectacular with the Halloween cold front that came through. All the teleconnections, like the warmer water here or the ridge in the west, all of that stuff was perfect. And we forecasted that to a T for that coldest Halloween since 1993 for most of the state of Florida. It was crazy. And in Fort Myers, you have to go further back. It was also 1993 in Fort Myers. That became official. So it was even colder than back in 2012. So just wild stuff. Again, it was a fantastic Halloween evening. It was a fantastic Halloween weekend, and it should be a nice weekend, albeit warmer coming up, getting into next week. And then on the cooler side, I think to start next week, as Ashworth mentioned, just in time for Veterans Day. Alrighty, guys, that about does it for the show tonight. Thanks a ton for being here. See you tomorrow night, 9:30. Have a great evening.